Hi, I'm Tim Tedder, and this is the Affair Recovery Room. Today, we're talking again about forgiveness. As you listen to this episode, you'll hear comments from people that I questioned on the street. You'll also hear comments from people who called in to a public question and answer forum. All of these comments are used with permission.
Do you think there's anything that someone in a relationship could do that would be beyond your ability to forgive them?
Cheating. Anything violent. Yeah, anything violent. So like killing, hurting people. But those are the two, almost no matter what context. I don't think I could.
I don't know. I mean, I'd like to say that I'd forgive anything, but I'm not sure. I think there's some hurts that would be really hard to forgive. I think if someone broke my trust or was abusive, I'm not sure I could forgive that.
In our last episode, we talked about 3 kinds of forgiveness that look good on the surface but don't bring real healing. We called them premature forgiveness, fake forgiveness, and bartered forgiveness. Each one is an understandable, sometimes even common reaction to betrayal. But they fall short, all of them. They bury pain, they disguise pain, or they weaponize it. And if that's where forgiveness stops, healing stops with it. If you're in a relationship that is stuck in the pain of betrayal, I can offer you something that will help. Whether you've not been able to express your pain adequately, or you're the one who broke trust and find it difficult to respond effectively to your partner's pain, the new pain mending courses available at affairhealing.com will help you move forward. There are 2 courses, one for injured partners and one for involved partners, and each can be taken individually or, for the greatest impact, taken together. You can preview the pain mending courses by going to the courses page at affairhealing.com. The link is also in the episode notes. Today, I want to turn to the 2 kinds of forgiveness that actually move us forward. These are the kinds of forgiveness that create freedom. First, for the betrayed partner, and sometimes, when the offender joins the process with genuine remorse, for the relationship as well. I'll be talking about what forgiveness is, why it matters, the difference between decisional forgiveness and full forgiveness, the cost of holding on, and the benefits of letting go. And before we're done, I'll offer some practical suggestions for both the betrayed partner and the offender.
Welcome to The Recovery Room, a podcast presented by affairhealing.com.
In this healing place, in this healing place.
Forgiveness is one of the most misunderstood words in affair recovery. To some, it feels like betrayal all over again. What? You want me to forgive after what they did? That's not fair. And to others, forgiveness feels like a rule, something they owe their partner, or something they have to force themselves into before they're ready. Let's be clear. Forgiveness is not condoning. It doesn't mean excusing what happened or pretending it wasn't wrong. And it certainly doesn't mean forgetting. Forgiveness is also not necessarily reconciliation. You can forgive someone without staying with them. Reconciliation requires 2 people. Forgiveness can begin with 1. Forgiving is not the same as trusting either. You can choose to forgive someone, but also choose not to trust them again. Forgiveness is about the past. Trust is about the future. I once worked with a woman whose husband had an affair and eventually left the marriage. She came to me months later and said, "I've decided to forgive him. I don't want to keep carrying this bitterness around." And she meant it. She let go of her right to keep punishing him in her heart. But she also said, "That doesn't mean I could ever trust him again. He never earned that." And that's the difference. Forgiveness releases the hold of yesterday. Trust is about who you'll rely on tomorrow. One can happen without the other. Forgiveness is something she chose to give. Trust is something that had to be earned. So, why does forgiveness matter in affair recovery? Because without it, the betrayed partner gets stuck in bitterness, anger, or fear. Forgiveness is not about giving the offender a free pass. It's about giving yourself a way out of the prison of resentment. The first valid form of forgiveness is what I call decisional forgiveness. This is when you make a choice to let go of your right to revenge. You may still feel hurt, angry, even resentful, but you decide not to keep carrying that weapon. You decide not to keep feeding the part of you that longs for payback.
I mean, I can give an example. I mean, there are people that, bullied me in elementary school, and I've come and forgiven them. And obviously they haven't come up to me and told me, hey, I'm so sorry that I bullied you in second grade. There's just some sort of, I'm not saying that time heals
It's like
every mistake.
Being the bigger person.
Yeah, but realizing that over time, some people have probably grown from those mistakes, and hopefully they're not out there doing those same things to other people.
Decisional forgiveness is like the husband who told me, I realized I was spending every day planning in my head how to get even. It was exhausting. And finally, I decided I don't want to live like this anymore. I can't change her, but I can change me. That's decisional forgiveness. It doesn't mean the pain is gone. It doesn't mean the relationship is healed. It simply means you've made a choice. I will not be held hostage by my desire for revenge.
What do you think forgiveness means?
I think forgiveness, part of it is moving on from the past and trying to heal a relationship with a person. Because I think forgiveness, I associate forgiveness only with something that a person does to either someone else or to you. So moving on and healing a relationship with someone that has hurt you in the past.
More of just like a clean slate of accepting what has happened and growing and moving forward.
I think forgiveness is, it's about moving on from something that was done against you. Choosing not to focus on it anymore and, just moving on and letting it be something that just happened in the past.
Here's what decisional forgiveness involves. First of all, acknowledging the hurt. You can't forgive what you don't name. Secondly, it means dropping your weapons. However you've been holding on to revenge, whether it's fantasies of retaliation, biting words, or just a silent hope that they'll get what's coming, you choose to let it go. Thirdly, it's redirecting your attention. Forgiveness means you stop obsessing about what can't be changed and start giving energy to what can. Your healing, your future. Reflection questions can help here. Questions like, what weapons am I still carrying? Am I willing to set them down, even when I feel the pain? What would it look like for me to stop focusing on the past and start walking toward my future? Decisional forgiveness is often the first real step forward. It's something you can do on your own, whether or not your partner takes full responsibility for hurting you. But there is another kind of forgiveness, one that brings a fuller sense of relief. The second form is full forgiveness. Sometimes I've called it completed forgiveness. Full forgiveness happens when decisional forgiveness is accompanied with an emotional release. It's when compassion and empathy are infused into the decision to forgive. And that can happen if the one who caused the offense demonstrates genuine regret and remorse for what they did.
Forgiveness to me would be the acknowledgement of what you've done or what someone has done, and not only moving on from it, but them coming to terms with what they've done, and expressing that the mistakes that they've done and the real reason behind those mistakes to the people that they've caused damage to.
In affair recovery, full forgiveness doesn't mean you pretend it never happened. It means Anger about the betrayal no longer holds power over every conversation, every conflict, every attempt at intimacy. It means you can move forward without dragging the past behind you like an anchor. There's usually a necessary ingredient required for full forgiveness, and that's the remorse of the offender. It's only possible when the offender has consistently shown honest regret, sorrow, and a willingness to change. Without that, decisional forgiveness may be the only option. Decisional forgiveness frees you as the forgiver. Full forgiveness frees you and your offender. Sometimes, even when your partner demonstrates genuine remorse for their betrayal, the emotional release of forgiveness may not come immediately. You may have to start with a decision that deepens as your choice to forgive settles into a shared experience. In a previous episode, a client talked about her experience with forgiveness. Let's listen to her comments again.
It's funny because I remember sitting on the couch in your office being like, I just don't think I will ever be able to get over this. And I kept thinking, I will never, ever be able to forgive him for this. I don't even understand the depths of what real forgiveness feels like, because I can't imagine feeling any type of forgiveness to him. And one thing is that he just went above and beyond to prove his love for me and prove just how much I meant to him. And he really did win me back. And even though he had gone through all those steps and some time had passed, I didn't ever feel forgiveness at first, but I chose forgiveness. So it was a choice for me. It was a choice for me to do it. And I decided that I was just going to start acting like I was forgiving him, even though I didn't have the feelings of it. And the amazing thing that happened was when I chose action first over the feelings did come eventually. The feelings of forgiveness and the feelings of love came back. But it was different in a way that I loved him in a new way that I had never loved him before.
But what happens if forgiveness never comes? For the betrayed partner, the cost is enormous. Unforgiveness means the wound stays open. Anger festers. Obsessive thoughts keep looping. The body carries the stress, insomnia, anxiety, even physical health problems. If I'm working with a client and they're stuck in a pattern of negative emotion like anxiety, depression, anger, or obsessive thoughts, and they're not progressing despite doing the work in counseling or coaching, one of the questions I will ask is this: is there any unresolved issue from your past, one that you have not forgiven or in which you need to be forgiven? With real forgiveness comes healing. Relationally, unforgiveness blocks intimacy. Even if you stay together, even if you stay in your marriage, the affair never really ends. Every conflict keeps circling back to it. Every attempt at closeness hits the wall of unresolved resentment. And unforgiveness doesn't just punish the offender, it punishes the one who's carrying it too. Genuine forgiveness, on the other hand, changes everything. Decisional forgiveness brings relief to the injured partner. The burden of vengeance lifts. Life feels lighter.
And I've learned after many decades that for me, forgiveness is not always for the other person. Forgiveness is kind of more about you. And you may not be extending forgiveness to that person directly. You might be doing it kind of as a release for yourself.
Full forgiveness, when possible, goes further. It not only frees the betrayed partner, it restores space for intimacy and love to grow again. You've probably heard the phrase, forgiveness isn't for the other person, it's for you. Well, that's partially true. Decisional forgiveness is indeed for you. It's your choice to stop being held captive by anger. But full forgiveness benefits both. It softens defenses, reopens hearts, and makes new beginnings possible. If you're the betrayed partner, here are some ways to move towards forgiveness. Don't rush it. Take time to honestly deal with your pain and grieve what's been lost. The Pain Mending for Injured Partners course I mentioned earlier will help you explore and even explain the pain that you've experienced. You might also try journaling honestly about what hurts. Again, ask yourself, what weapons am I still holding, and am I ready to set them down? Surround yourself with safe people, friends, counselors, groups, the ones who encourage healing, not just fuel your bitterness. Begin practicing empathy, not as excusing, but as recognizing your partner's humanity. If you're the offender, your role is not to demand forgiveness, but to make it easier for your partner to forgive you. Start by learning to empathize with their pain as much as possible. I know that's hard to do. We don't like to be reminded of what we've done, but your partner needs you to step into that vulnerable place. And if you need help, the Pain Mending for Involved Partners course will help you. Once you've done that, then offer your apology, and not just any apology, a good one. From years of counseling, as I wrote in my article on apologies, here are some of the points that matter. Don't sabotage your apology with excuses. Words like, I'm sorry, but, or I'm sorry if, or I'm sorry that you, all those words ruin an apology. I'm sorry, but is not an apology. Use the word for. I'm sorry for, fill in the blank. I'm sorry for lying. I'm sorry for breaking your trust. I'm sorry for whatever needs to be filled in there. Take responsibility without hedging. Be specific. Own the exact harm that you've caused. And remember, apologies aren't just words, they're actions. Consistency, honesty, and empathy over time are what make forgiveness possible. Bad apologies keep couples stuck. Good apologies help couples heal. Forgiveness, it's not easy. And it may feel impossible, especially in the shadow of betrayal. But forgiveness, the kind that frees your heart and sometimes even restores your relationship, is worth pursuing. Premature, fake, and bartered forgiveness keep us stuck in the past. But decisional and full forgiveness offer a way forward. They release your grip on revenge, and they release the hold of the betrayal itself. Wherever you are on this journey, take the next step, even a small one. Forgiveness grows slowly, but when it blossoms, it changes everything. And let me just say that if something in this episode touches you as someone who needs to forgive, you don't have to go to your offender and say immediately, okay, I've forgiven you. That's usually not how it works. But even if it's going to take some time to get there, you're saying to them, I know this is something I need to do. It's part of my healing. It's part of our healing. So it may take me some time to get there, but I'm going to work on it. I want to get to the place of forgiving you. That acknowledgement infuses hope into the situation. Without that proclamation, hopelessness can begin to set in. So give space for forgiveness. Start finding your way there. Thank you for joining me in the recovery room. Do you think there's anything beyond forgiveness?
No, I don't. I'm kind of the mindset that we're all created equal and we're all, in a way, products of our environment. So what someone else does, you might have done in that same situation. I think that everyone can change. I just think that some people are further along in their own journey, and they may need more time to change and become better people.
My husband had an affair. I found out back in March. It's been a really, really rough time. We were married 25 years. We're still married. We've chosen to work on the marriage and stay together. At a point about a month ago, I really felt like I had forgiven him. It was something I felt internally. And I said to him, I really believe I've forgiven you. And he really is trying. I know that. It just broke him, and he felt, we just got really, really close. But recently, and I believe it's triggers coming back, because I believe they had an emotional affair for a long time, and then they had a physical affair back in December of last year. So we just passed the weekend that I believe they had their first encounter. But all these feelings came back. How do you know when you've truly forgiven?
First of all, forgiveness is often a process. I think a person can genuinely offer forgiveness and have that forgiving spirit, and then something down the road, the pain gets triggered, and they wrestle with holding on to that forgiveness. They might even let it slip, and they justice, steps in for a while again. But the person that's truly forgiven will step back to forgiveness again. So when is it fully done? I guess you could say it'd be fully done when you face a trigger and it doesn't induce anger. It doesn't induce, shaming. It doesn't induce judgment. Maybe then. But I think that's a process that takes time. You are going to feel pain. Pain has nothing to do with whether you've forgiven or not. You can have forgiven freely, and you are going to still feel the reminders of pain. Forgiveness, in that moment that you feel the pain, can help you decide the choice that you're going to make when you feel that pain.